What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another edition of the Sheehan Show with me, Sean Sheehan, here on Sherdog.com. And today I am back with a fight night recap as the Professional Fighters League PFL Europe 4 2024 finale went down over in Lyon, in France on December the 14th, 2024. And I'll be honest, it was a very, very, very good year for PFL Europe. I'll have a recap of the full year in the coming weeks. But as I said, the year was very good, but the finales were also very, very good on a card which it was a card that had the highest of highs and the lowest of lows. Kind of, it was one of those cards. But all in all, I think if it's one of those cards, you're maybe listening here to and wonder what you should watch back. There's a lot of good stuff to watch back. You know, there's one or two things to avoid as well, let's be honest. But I would say overall it was a good, solid B+ card here that the PFL gave. And I think it was our guy Filthy Tom Lawler was put out there and goes, why are these PFL Europe cards so good? I think he even said they're better than the PFL Global cards, and they really have been. Like, I think Dan Hardy has done just a phenomenal job this year and last year as well. I think the matchmaking has been good. Some of the fighters they have found have been really, really good. Obviously headlined by, I suppose, Jacob Kasuba winning 2 years in a row, and we obviously get to the fight and break it all down. But it was, I think I spoke about it last week, and I'll speak about it again before the end of the year. I think PFL MENA was a glittering success. I think PFL Europe has been brilliant 2 years in a row now. I'm interested to see what they do. There's been a lot of talk of PFL this week and a lot of different reports and, whispers. And I think Don Davis came out today and said, we're having more cards than ever next year. And to be honest, as someone who covers it an awful lot, I'm delighted with that. Like, I really enjoy the PFL, and I think people will know that from the way I talk about it every week. It's I think more people, if more people watched it all the time, they would actually enjoy it a lot more as well. But anyway, maybe that's a discussion for another day. But as I said, this card, there's one major criticism, one major and one minor. This card was upside down, really. It was, I can't believe that you have 4 finales. You're the PFL Europe. This is PFL Europe finale. You have 4 really good title fights. And you don't, they're in the middle of the card, kind of. I understand you have the Lazy King, you want to have him as the main event, no problem. But I think what you should do then is have a 5-fight main card, have the Lazy King on top, and in the 4 finales just under it. And if you had obviously a big French star or whatever in one of the championship fights, that could be the main event or whatever. But I just think you spent the whole year putting these fights together. You did a great job of them. You've loads of good finals, and then 2 of them are buried on the undercard basically, and then the other 2 are before 3 other fights. It's I don't really see the point of that. You got your best stuff, and it's not your main stuff. So I'd love to know the decision making behind that. I would garner something to do maybe with TV times or something like that. I know this is on the zone, but maybe in France or whatever it might be. But yeah, I don't know. That was the one criticism I'd have for it. And I think I had that criticism coming in and coming out of it, considering how good those fights were. I think it's a very valid criticism. And you know what? I think it's probably one that the decision makers there couldn't help but see, I think, after way that card turned out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do it the right way, and I'm going to talk about the championship fights first here on this, and then I'll talk about everything else after that. So let's start with just a fantastic fight between Lewis McGrillen and Alexander Luster. After both of their last fights, they both fought on the same day, and they were, the matchmaking was obviously done, and we knew they'd be fighting each other, and they faced off in the cage and everything like that. I was like, this is the fight I'm most looking forward to for the end of the year, and maybe the hipster's choice for most looking forward to fight of the year. But by God, was I right on that one, because this was absolutely brilliant, back and forth, and I'll be honest, I thought Lewis McGrillen, and he's Lewis McGrillen Evans, but he's calling himself Lewis McGrillen now, so we'll go with Lewis McGrillen. I thought he fought, I thought he jumped levels. I thought he fought brilliantly. I thought he fought way better than he fought in the last fight, and I thought last fight was fight of the year. I'll be honest, I've been going through the awards this week. I'm sticking by the Dean Garnett versus Lewis McGrillen fight being fight of the year. this is up there. I think this is probably in my top 5, to be honest. And now it's not been a classic year for fights, but this was another barn burner, smashing fight. And when I say the word smashing, I literally mean the word smashing. So, we'll go through the fight and what happened, as we will with all the fights here. So it started off, Luster, as you tend to be against Lewis McGrillen, was kind of on the back foot, but he was kind of doing his dip and strike and not sure whether he would dip down and go for a takedown, or kind of on the way up from the dip, go for like a big left hook or something like that. But Lewis McGrillen does a similar thing, but maybe with his hands. It's in and out with the hands instead of up and down with the hips, let's say, that Luster does. And I think Lewis McGrillen did it better this time than he's ever done it before. I feel like there was an overabundance of feints in his game, and all the feints were just like, I want to throw. Now he's like throwing 2 or 3 feints, boom, throw, 2 or 3 feints, throw. Before I think it was going overboard, and I think it's probably a real testament to, I'm not sure what gym, whatever gym he's in, for adjusting that, because it made him a way better fighter, because it was a bit unnatural the way he was doing it before. Like, he's a natural insaniac, like he's an insane man, and I love him for it. He's one of my favorite fighters to watch, and this just let him go a little bit, let him off the reins a little bit, and it was a perfect thing to do. Landed a nice combination very, very early, and he knocked Luster down with a left hand. But, you know, Alexander came back. He landed a lovely head kick. Then Lewis got another knockdown from a straight left. Luster didn't pull guard, but it got up very quickly. And then there was a huge knockdown from Lewis McGrillen Evans. He got on top and guard in, but he let Luster up, and Luster looked kind of in trouble here. His mouth was all bloody. You know, but he was still throwing. You know, he threw a couple of nice shots after that, a bit of true right hand and true, you know, he was throwing leg kicks and head kicks throughout the whole fight. He went for a takedown and didn't get there, but then he landed a nice right hand, went for another takedown. Again, it was no good. And he landed, he went to the clinch after that, and he landed 2 nice knees in the clinch, but there was another huge left hand from McGrillen that hurt Luster. And that towards the end of the round, then Alexander landed a big head kick after he landed a right hand as well. So it was definitely a McGrillen round, no doubt about it. But Luster was in it too as we started the second round. The second round was even more exciting. 2 massive lefts started it off from Lewis McGrillen. A Luster right hand and rocked him, and this was, I think, probably the biggest shot that Luster landed in the whole fight. It was a lovely, lovely right hand, but again, McGrillen just kind of walked through it. Both landed lovely body kicks. You know, Luster then threw him down, but Lewis scrambled and got on top, and there was wild exchanges. They got back up. They didn't both exchange backhands, a left hand from McGrillen and a right hand from Luster, but then Lewis landed a big hard elbow, Lewis landed a hard elbow, Luster landed a body kick, and then McGrillen landed a hard left, and he just didn't look tired. There was a time just before the fight was about to end, I looked at the two of them and go, right, Luster's been through a round and a half of a fight here, right? And you can tell, as you could tell with any human being on earth, and then you look at Lewis McGrillen and it's like, nah. Yeah, he's just after starting, he's just getting going here. And I think that was a point that maybe Luster saw the same thing. They exchanged elbows, and then there was a hard knockdown by Lewis McGrillen. The ref nearly stopped it. A few more shots, and then the referee did come in and stop it. A brilliant fight. Load of knockdowns, a load of back and forth. But I might have made it sound closer than it was. I think Lewis McGrillen was the better fighter in there. And I picked his opponent coming in, so I was dead wrong on that. But glad to be dead wrong, to be honest, because Lewis McGrillen is a fun fighter, a fun guy. And honestly, if I was talking to a few lads about it there, and you know, we were all kind of saying like Lewis McGrillen is probably, if you had to pick one guy in MMA to watch these days, it's probably Lewis McGrillen. So what a performance, what a win, what a year for Lewis McGrillen as well. Absolutely brilliant. And he is the bantamweight champion for 2024. Then the lightweight champion is Jacob Kazuba, after a real ding dong back and forth affair with Connor Hughes. I thought there was a a big shot coming in here. And, I spoke about it on the previous show and on the betting show as well, that I thought, Conor Hughes, his improvements showed that he was well in with a chance here. And I think that was shown to be right. And I think anyone after round one or in the middle of round two or even, we're probably very, very, very confident in Hughes winning here because he fought so well. So the fight started with Kazuba, and he's patented kind of high guard, more on the back foot than usual though. Hughes was kind of touching on the jab, but a very, very slow start from both guys altogether. Kazuba, he was throwing out jabs, throwing out leg kicks. And then the only good shot of like the early goings was a Hughes uppercut, which wasn't, I said it was huge there. That wasn't a play on words. It wasn't that big. But then Hughes landed a jab a few minutes later, and that was nice. And it kind of got going from there. There was a big left hook that came after from Hughes that dropped Kazuba. Kazuba was kind of switching his feet as he did it. It wasn't a genuine massive knockdown, but it was a knockdown. I think he would deserve it for that. There was a shots at Linton from Kazuba. As he tried to keep away a little bit, he dived for a late takedown, doesn't get it, and then Hughes almost guillotined him on top. So a clear 10-9 round for Hughes there, no doubt about it. I think Kazuba didn't do enough, and Hughes landed the big stuff there. Round two, then Kazuba was kind of keeping closer distance at this time. I don't think he wanted to get on the end of the jab or the end of those kind of long kicks that Hughes was throwing, and Hughes went for a takedown, but it goes to the clinch. And then there was like a double uppercut from Hughes in the clinch with one from each hand. And there was a big stuff, big shots after that. Actually, the double uppercut knocked him down, and he looked to be in trouble here. The Kazuba, as I said, big shots after. The referee was looking. I thought he might step in to finish, but Kazuba does very well to stay alive. Hughes nearly got a rear naked choke, but he was kind of too much on the side, and he slipped off. There was a few of them like half rear naked choke, half arm triangle type of submissions. One of them hit, and we'll get to that later on, but this one didn't. And Kazuba got on top and landed some ground and pound for the last minute, and that was definitely a 10-9 Hughes round as well. So Hughes is ahead 2018 at this stage, and you're thinking for Kazuba, okay, big issues here, big issues. So Kazuba straight away from the start of the third round got a takedown. Hughes made a massive mistake. Before he got the takedown, he went for the takedown. It was like in the clinch slash, he was kind of like just about to hit the ground. And then instead of like trying to get an overhook or trying to like push down the wrestling attempt and step out of it or something like that, he decided to go for a triangle and put himself on his back. Just probably one of those decisions you look back on in years to come, and you're thinking, why did I do that? It was, not the best decision making, but what can you say after such a great start from him? But it forced him into the ground, and he was the whole round on his back after that. Big ground and pound from Kazuba. Hughes got cut in the last minute, could have been stopped. I thought, to me, this was one that you're not thinking was a 10-9 or 10-8. You're thinking it was a 10-8 or 10-7. That's why I looked at this. I do think it was a 10-8. I don't think you'd reach for the 10-7 here, but it was a definite 10-8 round as one of them. So, you're looking at this stage, the fight's even. After such, great 10 minutes for Hughes. After 15, the fight's even. So, they exchange right hands as the fourth starts. Kazuba gets a takedown. Hughes goes for the guillotine. And again, you're thinking, what's going on here? Kazuba into half guard. Massive elbows from Kazuba, and then more. Hughes was just not doing anything at this stage. Kazuba was doing it all, landing all the shots. I wrote here in my notes, Hughes was doing nothing but taking punches to the face. And then the referee, I thought the referee could have warned him a little bit earlier here, to be honest, but he eventually warned him. Kazuba got into the mount, and from that stage, you knew it was just a matter of time, and it was indeed. Kazuba was in the mount, load of elbows again, and then the referee eventually came in, and he stopped the fight at 4 minutes 40 of round 4. A great comeback from Jacob Kazuba. Really good performance early from Conor Hughes as well. I think a couple of big mistakes cost him, but Kazuba is one of those guys. I described him like Leon Edwards in the preview, and I stand by that. I think he's a good, well-rounded guy, great cardio, no give and no weak areas, and I think he showed that again. So a great win for him there in the lightweight round. Then we had the welterweights, Farim Zindeli and Daniele Micheli, which was, I'd say they wouldn't get mad at me for saying maybe a fight that a lot of people didn't think would be the welterweight finale here. So it started with Daniele low kick and pressure, as he always tries to do. Zindelli was thrown back, but Daniele went in for a takedown, and he went for as he went in for a takedown, the front choke from Zindelli was very, very close. Daniele pulled him down, but Zindelli lands on top. And then they get back up. Zindelli pulls guard with an anaconda choke in, which you don't see every day. And it was close, but they got up again. Florim, then he was just picking his shots. And I thought to myself, I wrote in my notes, I was like, Michelle's looking tired here. And then about 10 seconds later, Dan Hardy said the exact same thing. I'm like, Jesus, they're 2 minutes into it here. I think this was one of those ones where he wasn't physically tired. There's no way a man that physically fit would be that tired after 2 minutes. I think it was the adrenaline, the belt on the line, the 100 grand and all of this. I think it all just got to him, and it was it was a very taxing first couple of minutes to the round, no doubt about it. But then there was he used that disadvantage. He landed a big right hand and then a head kick, but then Florim landed a big right hand of his own. He got a takedown, but it kind of got up to the clinch, and then there was blood on the nose of Florim. He went in, he got a trip takedown, got to the right position. He landed some big shots from there. And I think the tiredness then of Michele was very, very evident. And there was big shots from Zindelli. Zindelli got both hooks in, big ground and pound, rear naked choke. And I said I had another criticism. This camera angle of the finish. Oh my goodness. So he had him in the rear naked choke. And like the camera is like back over there, near, the camera's back over near one of my swords there, looking down. Whereas the camera should be over here, the camera should be there, looking at me getting choked here. Whereas the camera's behind me there getting choked. And then they showed a replay of the camera angle, and they had an absolutely fantastic camera angle of it. So we didn't see the choke, we didn't see the tap. You could kind of see it was in, but the commentators were even like, "Oh, he's the choke in. Oh, he taps." So yeah, what a win for Florim Zindelli. Jeez, he's a guy again that looked, I had it in my notes coming into the year, green. He looked as green as grass, but I'll tell you what, he doesn't look that green anymore. So he wins at 4 minutes 24 of round one, an absolutely fantastic win for Zindelli, and he is the welterweight champion. It was a much cleaner, easier, quicker win for Polina Wisniewska, who beat Valentina Skittizi after just 20 seconds of round one. Was it a bit of an early stoppage? Maybe. I don't think it was a bad stoppage, right? And if this happened in any fight that isn't, the championship fight for 100 grand, I know in the great scheme of things, 100 grand isn't big money, and with all the big fights, but this means a lot, and I think maybe she could have been given another second. Now, I'm definitely not having a major criticism here of the referee. I don't think it was a bad stoppage, but I would have liked to have seen her given a little bit more time. So the fight started. Valentina came out going forward, as she does, and then Paulina caught her with a massive knee. Valentina tried to get up, but really smart. If you go back and watch this fight, so Paulina got her left arm over the back of Skittizi as she was trying to get up, and just held her in that position where Skittizi could not get up. She was in kind of the downward facing dog position. Left arm over her back, held her in that position so she couldn't rise this way. It was just brilliant. Like one of those techniques, that she probably drilled over and over and over just to, hold a person in position. And it, 100 grand here, took loads of punches. And I was referee, Rich Mitchell stopped it. Rich is he had a very good night, but he's a very good ref as well. But as I said, I would have liked to seen it gone a tiny little bit more. Now, to be honest, she held her in that position so well and had that left hand over the back. It probably wouldn't have lasted much longer anyway. But I like in these sort of, big fights. And I think there were big fights as well. Maybe I was treating them with bigger fights than everyone else. But I'd like to see her given another maybe minute or two. But at the same time, Wisniewska is a real find. And this girl is a very, very talented fighter. We're all talking about Dakota Dacheva, but she's no mug either. A very, very, very good fighter. So, it was good to see, it's good to see her pick this up. And I don't know what's going to happen. I wouldn't mind seeing her in the championship next year against Dakota Dacheva if they were looking for people. So we'll put a pin in that and see. So those are the 4 big title fights. And honestly, they were very, very good. So your champions for the year, Paulina Wisniewska at flyweight, welterweight Florim Zindelli, lightweight Jacob Kazuba again, the champ, and at bantamweight Lewis McGrennan Evans. So that was that. Right, let's have a look at the rest of the card. And let's start at the main event, which was the Lazy King Abdullah Dorhimov against Leandro Strapoli. I'll be honest, I didn't think this was the best performance in the world from the Lazy King. I thought he did enough to win, but I honestly thought Strapoli did enough to maybe get a card. You know, I thought he could have won the first round. I did think he won the third round. It was not a classic. It wasn't a bad fight. It wasn't a bad fight, definitely, but it wasn't a classic performance from the Lazy King by any means necessary. So, the fight started with Strapoli oddly circling. I've written here in my notes, like, he usually goes forward and usually goes all out, but he was smart in this fight. There's no doubt about it. They were kind of touching each other from the outside. Lazy King was switching stances. Strapoli landed some hard leg kicks. He was getting in, close on a few big ones, but didn't really land them. Lazy King kind of was walking in, and Strapoli dropped him with a left hook. And again, this was kind of one of those ones where he kind of was falling over at the same time, but he did drop him with the left hook. Lazy King got a takedown. He took the back. He went for the darts, but just didn't have enough time. There was only a while left, and Strapoli defended well, and a close round. Look, it could have gone either way. I probably would just about lean to the Lazy King, but again, maybe not. The second round was definitely Lazy King and close to a 10-8, I thought. Strapoli landed a hard right hand. Lazy King not doing much to start the round, but then Strapoli caught him with a 1-2. Lazy King kind of drew him in then, I think, by not doing much, and got a takedown. And then, but Strapoli immediately got up to the clinch. Lazy King, though, to his credit, and this was the winner of the fight, I think he stayed on him. Mat return, Strapoli defended well, once stopped defending, got back up to the clinch, but then Lazy King dumped him, and he tried to take the back twice, and he didn't get the first time. On the second attempt, he kind of tripped him again, and he put in the arm triangle at the same time. Lazy King was just too high on it, but he made Strapoli defend for a good long time there, and his arm was trapped as well with Strapoli, so both of them couldn't move, because if the Lazy King had moved, he would let the arm go, and it would have been easier for Strapoli to defend, and he would have lost the arm. He didn't really want to do that, and then Strapoli was stuck with the arm on one side and then stuck on the arm trunk on the other, so he literally couldn't move. So it was one of those situations, but he survived, and then Strapoli got into the mount late, but yeah, it was definitely a Lazy King round there. Then the third, a lot more lethargic, not as much happened. Lazy King kind of picked up a leg and tried to dump him early, but it was no good. Strapoli landed a nice 1-2. He landed a lovely uppercut then, and a head kick, and a nice jab. Lazy King landed a leg kick, and Strapoli, I thought, was looking better here. Landed a nice combo, landed a hard right hand. There was a late takedown for the Lazy King, and he took the back, but he couldn't get the choke. He was close to the rear naked choke late, and look, again, if you want to turn around on that, you can, but I thought there was enough from Strapoli before that in the round to take it. So again, I think there was a 30-27 card for Lazy King. I understand that. I understand 29-28, but I could also understand 29-28 Strapoli. So I thought, look, you're the Lazy King. He has this massive reputation and all. He didn't look amazing on the feet. Look, when he gets to the ground, he looked fantastic as well, but he couldn't finish him. That's the top and bottom of it. So, a guy like Strapoli, who's a massive underdog here, if you're the Lazy King, you should be really going out there, putting a statement on it, and he really didn't. So, the opposite thing could be said for the co-main event. Patrick Cabarrora, one of the best amateurs we've seen in quite a while, took on Caitlin Safta, who, I'll tell you, Safta put on a real good show and good effort here against Cabarrora. He came out early, closed his distance, but he had a huge right hand, and a lot of people in that situation wouldn't have had another one. That would have been that. But he kept going. Cabarrora landed a lovely body kick. He landed a 1-2 and a nice jab, and then Safta caught him with a hard right hand, which I think actually hurt him, and it caused Patrick to slam him. But it quickly got up, kind of got into the clinch again, and Safta here as well. This is madness. He ignored the ref twice. There was a low kick, and then there was a clinch break, and he just ignored the referee on both occasions and just kept striking, which was terrible but hilarious at the same time. Cabarrora stopped a few takedowns at him towards the end of the round, then landed 2 right hands, but he was on his bike kind of switching late in the round, which was a good adjustment for him, I think, which carried over for the rest of the fight. He was starting round 2, he was jabbing with Cabarrora, really doing really well from range. But Safta threw, you know, a nice front kick to the face, which Dan Hardy was really appreciated, and I definitely did too. You know, there was a bit of clenching then, and the jab hurt Safta. The body kicks hurt him too, but there was no giving it whatsoever. You know, Patrick tried to take down and got to the clinch, and he landed some of those Travis Brown elbows in there as well. You know, landed a nice combination. But then Safta landed a nice combination of his own as well. You know, there's a head kick from Patrick and then another, and his footwork and defense just looked so good here. And there was a time at the start of the third where I thought Habarora was looking so smooth that Safta was now too reluctant to throw anything because Patrick Habarora was just making him miss. And then what came at the end of this was one of the knockouts of the year, no doubt about it. Safta came running in, you know, late in the fight, trying to get that finish. And, you know, Habarora just took a step and launched that right hand right through, folded him, like folding like a garden chair, and then not only did he fold, he fell backwards onto his head, and then Habarora came in and hit him with two deathly coffin nails after that. A vicious knockout. I've put it in, you know, with my awards for knockout of the year, and I think, you know, if we're talking about PFL Europe knockout of the year, I definitely think it has to be up there. Brilliant performance from Habarora. The next fight, Mikel Gorgu against Lamine Sen. I don't think I'll even bother going through it, to be honest, because it was one of the worst fights, but so boring. Like I'll go through it. The first round, they were just both winging punches. I thought, you know, Sin was a guy who came in at 5-7, I believe, and there's a lot to talk about Mikel Gorgu being like a real prospect now. But by God, he didn't look that. Mikel was just winging punches. Sin was actually, he was getting to the clinch and trying to do stuff, and you could tell that Mikel had power and he was landing a couple of shots, but there was a clinch so long that the ref broke it. And then Mikel came out and he landed a jab and he landed a hard leg kick, and you know, the leg kicks were the best shots of the fight, no doubt about it. You know, Sin landed a few shots of his own and clinch again and clinch again and clinch again type of thing. The second round, some leg kicks from Sin, which looked good, and then Mikel landed a couple of his own and he whiffed on a load of big shots then. And, you know, it's funny, he didn't throw many big shots, and when he did, he whiffed on a lot of them. But Mikel finally backed him up and started to land some shots, and this was probably the best period of the fight. But, you know, Sin landed a left hook of his own. Mikel landed a couple of left hooks. Both were extremely tired at the halfway point. And you knew at the halfway point of the fight that this was headed for a heavyweight snooze fest. And that's exactly what we got. A few leg kicks landed, a few clinches, a bit of a ball kick. And after that, Mikel dropped Sin with a hard right hand and then a clinch for just ages after that. The third round, you'll never see anything like this in the third round. At like 3 different periods of the third round, they just stood there, both of them, like 5 feet apart, and just did nothing. Like literally, like, okay, all right, we'll start fighting again. Not even longer than that. I'm looking at my screen here. That was about 2.5 seconds with double the time of that. So, yeah, it was absolutely atrocious. And I think a fight like this won't be on the main card of a PFL again. So, in the end, Mikel Gorgu won the decision, and you know, very little to write home about. Very, very little indeed. What we did have to write home about was the PFL. What did they call it? Doumbé Decides featherweight fight. So there was 3 fights, and Cedric Doumbé had 2 contracts to offer, and then he gave 2 of the winners contracts at the end, which is all right. I actually don't think that's a bad necessarily idea, but put this on the undercard, the first 3 fights of the night, and do not, under any circumstances, ever again allow Cedric Doumbé to have a microphone. Get someone to hold in front of him so he can talk for 5 seconds. Oh my God, this went on and on and on. And he was on the commentary and he was just cursing him blindly, which I actually liked. I liked him in the commentary. He was funny, but yeah, this was ridiculous. So The fights weren't amazing. Let's be honest. We'll go through them here. So the three winners were Campanella, Mattis. They won contracts, and then they just gave another one to Salvo. After the two of them got up, I actually went out because it had taken so long. I went out to like go to the bathroom and get a drink or something, and I came back in. I was talking to my Mike Pimbleton, and I was like, "Did Salvo get on too?" And he's like, "Yeah, they just gave a third one out." So there was he had no choice to make. Dumbo didn't decide nothing. But anyway. So we go through these fights. There was Matthias Jurgen against Yassine Chateau. The first round here, Matthias was on top for most of it, and ended up winning it. Yassine was kind of pressuring him, landed a couple of right hands, and you know, Matthias. He got a takedown at the start of this round, and as I said, he spent most of the round on top. But he kind of, as the fight went, he got better and better and better, it felt. And, you know, this is the last fight as well, so maybe a little bit lucky. And you know, they gave the contracts to everyone, so it wasn't too bad. But, you know, I think he might have been lucky to be in that position, because the first round, you know, not amazing. A bit of kind of stuck against the cage, bit of kind of takedown, get up, bit of not enough ground and pound maybe. The second round, there was a clinch to start it off. Yassine was trying to control it, but he just didn't have the ability. And while he was trying to control it, Matisse got on top and split the rest of the round on top again and clearly won the round. A lot of good ground and pound in that round. And in the third round, you know, Mattis landed a huge leg kicks, you know, he went for a takedown, didn't get it inside the first minute, but then eventually did get the fight to the ground. Went for a head and arm choke and got the back with both hooks in. He was controlling the back, landing punches, nearly got the rear naked choke with 90 seconds left, moved to the mount, and then the big stuff came towards the end. So Mattis won. He won all three rounds on my card, and he won. Matthias Jurgen won the unanimous decision. Mahio Capanello was probably the standout. In the next fight, he fought Uziber Bourassa, and he got the finish in the first round. So Campanella came out and landed a calf kick. His opponent kind of clinched him up, and Campanella turned and landed some lovely knees in the body from the clinch, and then there was a break. His opponent Bourassa landed some nice calf kicks. Campanella was throwing some spinning stuff. And he landed a hard, straight kick to the body. But then he got knocked down to Campanella. And he went for the guillotine. Campanella was in half guard on top. Then elbows from Campanella. And he almost had a Van Fluke, but he let it go. But then it was right, I suppose. He went for the arm triangle, and he ended up getting it. So that was impressive and a good submission there. And then I actually thought, if you're talking about an all-around fighter, I thought Salvo Gidice was to me probably the standout, and he's the one that didn't get the contract until he did. I thought he won all three rounds against his opponent Attila Kobas. You know, this was, I believe, it's a pro debut for Salvo, and Attila had, you know, it was 2-1 or something like that. But Salvo came out and landed a right hand. You know, Attila came back at him and landed a couple of head kicks. Went for a takedown, but Salvo landed on top and got into guard, half guard, landed some good ground and pound. You know, Salvo had the Dagestani handcuff at one stage, but he kind of had to let it go because the other hand was being controlled by Attila, which was very, very smart. You don't see too much of that, but it was good stuff from him there. The second round, Salvo got a body lock takedown. He landed in side control, but they kind of got up to the scramble and in a clinch. Salvo took him down again and landed some shots in the ride for a very, very long period. Went for a dark choke. It was no good, but he took the back, flattened him out, and landed some very, very good ground and pound in that round. And in the third, the doctor actually examined Koba, but he let it go, and Salvo got into a clinch and then got a big trip takedown again. The Dagestani handcuff, which was very good. Loads of ground and pound there. Could have been stopped, in my opinion, here, but it wasn't. Went back again to the same position we saw before, the right into the half guard, and you know, the both kind of knew where the fight was going at this stage. I knew who was winning, who was losing, and there was some good punches and elbows from Salvo as the round was to end, and he did win. And as I said, he won the not the 100 grand. The what did he win? He won a PFL contract in the end. There was two more fights after that. Those were the start. Let me just make sure I have all the fights here that I didn't miss out on any. No, I didn't. Yeah, so there was two other fights to start it off, and these are pretty good fights, to be honest. Ireland's own Owen Sheridan was dominant in his fight against Bryce Belzagi. Honestly, so these lads are for two very young in their career. I thought Belzagi, and by the way they were talking, it was kind of like, oh no, Sheridan was kind of getting laid up here for Belzagi to win. It was anything but that, levels and levels ahead, which was Sheridan here. I don't know whether Belzagi maybe just didn't turn up or what, but he did not look good. Where Sheridan he looked green, but he looked like a real prospect here. And anyone in the Irish MMA scene will tell you that. To me, he won 30-26. It was one of those fights. So the fight started off, Bryce went straight in for a takedown, but Sheridan defends it. And, no one, obviously, they were talking about him. He's a kickboxing background and all, but he looked very comfortable here. Turned clinches into takedowns, got on top many times throughout the fight. At the halfway point of the first round, it got back to the feet, and Sheridan landed some lovely body kicks. And he almost got taken down after one of his kicks, but he reversed it and he ended up on top. Lovely stuff, got into guard. Bryce went for a leg, but he didn't get it. But good ground and pound from Sheridan late in the round. He definitely won. There was kicks from Sheridan to start the first, and then he went for a takedown from kind of the mid cage, got to guard, ground and pound for around 2 minutes there. They got up to the clinch. Bryce hit a low blow, and both got him. There's something that happens when low blows land. Everyone gets a bit wild after it, and that's what happened here as well. And then Bryce kind of took him down from a kick, but Sheridan kicks him off and lands on top, and Bryce jumps back, and it was big round upon again. Then that round by Sheridan, and he definitely won those first 2 rounds. And then Bryce clinched to start the third. It broke, clinch again, and then Sheridan landed a lovely front kick. He backs up and kind of gets taken down then, but Owen immediately gets on top. Lovely mount transition, lovely elbows, great ground and pound, took the back body triangle, almost had the rear naked choke, and huge ground and pound late. I thought that was a 10-8, definitely borderline anyway. So a great win for Owen Sheridan, only a couple of fights into his career, and big couple of weeks for Irish MMA in terms of Ian Gary put on a great win, Paul Hughes a while back. There's some big fights coming up, Kenny Makahana and some of the other lads as well being announced, and Nathan Kelly announced them on the big card coming up in January as well. So brilliant stuff there, and I'm looking forward to seeing all that. The opening fight of the night was also featured someone training out of Ireland, Claudio Pacella from SPG, and he had a very good win as well over Oscar Onsworth. Very close fight, no doubt about it. They were mixing it up early. Pacella was pressuring him with big right hands, and Oscar was landing some leg kicks, missed a few flying knees, but Pacella landed 3 right hands in a row. Lovely body shots as well, but great chin on Oscar Onsworth, no doubt about that. Here he was on his bike in the second half of the round. He landed a nice knee on the inside, and he got a clinch for about 60 seconds, but it just wasn't enough, as both landed a couple late, and I think Pacella won that first round. Scrappy second round then. A lot of clinching, a lot of kind of failed trips, and first 90 seconds of the round was all that, and then Onsworth landed a few teeps after that, but kind of looked a bit tired. Pacella put on an awful pace, throughout the fight. Oscar went for a double leg, and it was successful, but he was on top in full guard. The referee gave a very quick warning. They got up quick then after that, and Pacella got into the clinch for 90 seconds or more. He landed a nice combo in the middle of that, and I think that was probably enough to to see out the round for him. I thought Onsworth didn't win the third round. Pacella landed some big body shots, hurt him with a right hand and uppercut, and Oscar kind of was changing more of a Muay Thai kind of fighting here rather than using his lint, maybe a step or two closer in. Well, it didn't really work. Capella got the clinch and out and into the clinch again. Oscar landed a few elbows, and as I said, he was doing much better in the third round, but I don't think it had the overwhelming effect maybe that it was needed when you're 2 rounds down. He was landing some longer shots after the break from the clinch. Hurt Pacella to the body, and I think this was the biggest thing. I think Pacella did get tired. Look, when you put on that pace, it's an issue, and plus the body shots all added up. Now Oscar was going forward. He had a chance to finish him here, but Pacella, he was backing up, and he looked a little bit in trouble, but he landed a big right hand late, and I think that really turned things around and kind of saved it for him. Didn't save the round, I don't think. I thought it was 29-28, but Pacella, in the end, did end up getting the win there. So, big night for PFL Europe. As I said, 4 new champions in Wisniewska, Zindeli, Kasuba, and McGrennan Evans crown. Well, not 4 new champions, 3 new champions, and 1 return champion as the Lazy King won in the main event of a night, which starred Cedric Doumbé throughout as well. So that is it. That is my recap of the event. Thank you very much for tuning in. My name is Sean Sheehan for Sherdog.com, and I'll see you all next time.